Our next item is our Farm to School Month update. Dr. Swift.
Thank you, and special thanks to you Farm to School folks for hanging in there with us and for being good sports about allowing the children to go first. Ms. Jenna Bacalor is here tonight to share information about our Farm to School Month. Trustees, you have a beautiful handout there on your table. Ms. Bacalor is a member of the Farm to School Collaborative, which is the hub for the District Farm to School Month events. The Farm to School Collaborative began back in 2006 as a place for parents, teachers, community partners, and food service to make connections between the Ann Arbor Public Schools and local agriculture. The collaborative works to bring resources and best practices about farm to school programming into the Ann Arbor Public Schools. Farm to School Month in October includes many opportunities for K-12 students to eat locally grown food and share it with their families. Just last week, well, it was on the 5th, I see, the team was out at Carpenter and those little kindergartners were eating all kinds of apples. And Mr. Cluley got some good photo and video of them munching on their apples. And for us, that may not be a big deal, but for a child, particularly a child that comes from a home impacted by poverty, that may be a new experience for them. And we're so proud, Ms. Bacalor, of your efforts. And I know you have great teacher leaders here with you tonight. I'll have you do introductions, although we know you. Hi, how are you? And so thank you for hanging in there with us. I know you all have to be at school in the morning, so thank you.
Hello, trustees and Dr. Swift. I know it's late, but I am fired up about Farm to School. And I am so happy to acknowledge Neha Shah, teacher at Burns Park Elementary, who is a co-chair of the Farm to School Collaborative and provides great leadership to this group. She's been co-chair, this is going into your second year? Yes. The other teacher who is here, Mary Wigton, who's a 7th and 8th grade teacher at Ann Arbor Open, unfortunately had to leave already. All right, so Farm to School Month. This October, we join over 40,000 schools across all 50 states in celebrating National Farm to School Month. In tonight's presentation, I will cover 3 different things: the purpose and benefits to students of Farm to School Month, the AAPS Farm to School Collaborative, and the events that are happening this month as part of this celebration. You might wonder, what is Farm to School? Essentially, it's a way to enrich the connections between school communities with fresh, healthy food and really try to get students to eat more fresh, healthy food. Sorry, I'm a little out of it because it's so late, but I'm powering through. It's going to be great. So we are trying to connect students to the idea of seed to plate, what happens to get their food to them. And there are core elements nationally to Farm to School that are education of students and staff and parents and families, school gardening, and procurement. And if you visit other schools, oftentimes they have 1 or 2 of those different elements. But in Ann Arbor, because we are overachievers, we do all 3 of those. And they really are part of the Farm to School Collaborative work. So what are the benefits? For students, there are huge benefits to Farm to School programs. Like I said, it gives them access to nutritious, high-quality local food, but there's also a lot of hands-on learning that can happen, not just about how do you grow a tomato or what does this taste like compared to one that's traveled here from Mexico or California, but also culinary arts and careers in agriculture and food-related processing. Farmers win. We have lots of local farmers in our community, and we're able to provide them with access to our own institutional market, instead of only buying from companies that are very far away or very big. Communities also win. There's a great environmental impact from Farm to School because we're reducing the travel time of that food from grower to buyer. we can reduce carbon emissions. We're also creating and sustaining jobs, local jobs in agriculture and food production. And as you know, in Ann Arbor, we hold a strong value for local and locally grown and produced food, and we just have to realize that our school district food service is part of our local food system. We're a huge buyer, we're a huge bunch of eaters, and also there's food waste and composting that's part of it too. So we are part of that. Farm to school programs do have the potential to advance equity as well, because as I'm sure all of us know, there are a lot of racial disparities in access to fresh food and access to even learning how to grow food. So what we're able to do, especially here in Ann Arbor, is create an opportunity for all of our students to try all different kinds of locally grown food, to learn about careers in agriculture, among many other things. So who's on the Ann Arbor Farm to School Collaborative? So you have a handout that shows you. Here's a picture of some of us taken on a nice sunny day recently, and there were a couple people hiding in the back. Tiffany Houston is hiding back there, another person is hiding. But it's a great place for all of us to come together, and it's truly a collaborative. We make decisions using a consensus process and have a good time just doing the work. And this collaborative is completely volunteer. All of the work that we do is volunteer, and a volunteer on the collaborative made that logo right there as well. And like I said, we do all three parts of the procurement, education, school gardening. So what is going on for actual Farm to School Month? Some of this is not on your calendar because it's already happened and it's just done now. But U of M Project Healthy Schools is an amazing partner. We're so lucky to have them with us as part of our Farm to School Collaborative. With funding that they received from a donor, we were able to offer elementary schools 3 different choices for how to celebrate Farm to School in their building. First, they could get a Farm to School gift basket, which included potting soil and all of the materials to do a lesson for K2 or 3-5 that was NGSS connected for learning how to grow food using food and water. They were connected to standards. So that was a kit for how to do that for each school that chose the gift basket. Schools could also choose to do a tasting, and as you'll see on your calendar, most of them chose that. So we had a lot of apples in the district last week because that was Farm Fresh Friday on Friday, which I'm going to get to in a minute, but also apple tasting. And it's a great way for students just to learn apple is a huge crop in Michigan. We have tons of different types, and that's part of the tasting is that there were 4 or 5 different types of Michigan-grown apples that students could try. The third option that elementary schools received was the trip to the farmer's market, and we only had one building say that they wanted to do that this time, and that's fine. A lot of kids can go to our many farmers markets on the weekends, but so mostly it was the tastings, gift basket, one trip to the farmer's market. U of M Project Healthy Schools also is providing each of our middle schools an after-school farmers market with free produce. And this is really amazing if you get a chance to stop by and see one of them. It truly is this huge variety, and you can see some kids are looking at plums right there, and there were some kids who didn't know what a plum was and said, hey, are these big grapes? Or what's going on with this? So there's a lot of education that happened at these two. I had a great picture of a kid giving a true side eye to some parsnips, like, what is that? And it's just an opportunity. You get to see, wow, all this stuff. And the produce for these farmers markets is bought by Project Healthy Schools, and it comes from local farms like Zilke Farms, and also the farm at St. Joe is providing some. All right, so our food service partner Chartwells is offering Farm Fresh Fridays every week, and last week they did apples. See lots of different varieties there as well. This week they are doing kidney beans and black beans that are grown and produced in Michigan as part of a chili that they're making. So that's district-wide. You can check it out. They also, for the second year in a row, were awarded a $44,000 grant. It's actually a slightly higher amount this year from the state of Michigan to purchase locally grown food. And so Chartwells has been able to expand the types. One of our difficulties in procurement is that we're so big, and so we need huge quantities of produce. And sometimes our local farmers aren't able to, a lot of times they're not able to produce enough of the one item for us to buy. And then we have our Farmer in the Classroom program, and the Agrarian Adventure is a nonprofit that started with the Tap and Garden. It's been around for several years. This is a really special program that our students are able to participate in, where an actual farmer, or what we call a food steward, so they're people who are really into seeds a lot of the time, come into a classroom. They're kind of a guest speaker, and they do hands-on lessons about sustainable agriculture. They have 9 different lessons, and they adapt them based on the age group. They include all different types of topic, from basically seed to compost. And last year they visited 48 classrooms in 12 AAPS schools. So they cover a lot of ground. And they do it just as a nonprofit partner. It doesn't cost the district anything. And they have their big annual fundraiser coming up. And I just wanted to mention it's a great community event with really, really good food, all locally sourced. All right, so here is my favorite topic. School gardens in Ann Arbor Public Schools has been a big focus for the Farm to School Collaborative. And, oh, there she is. She moved seats, so I couldn't see her. Neha has been very involved in the King School Garden and is now at Burns Park. And I wanted to highlight 2 gardens that are just doing really interesting things. And again, this is all volunteer. At Lakewood, they've called their garden Lizardland, and they have a 22-bed international garden. It's so cute. You just have to go see it. The beds are teeny, but they've really tried to incorporate the student cultures of of the students at the school, and they're doing some interesting things with curriculum integration in the garden. So, for example, the third graders district-wide have this Michigan unit that they do, and they planted a Native American bed and a colonial bed, and they're studying what do those different vegetables look like as part of that lesson. They also have a worm factory near the garden, and they're studying decomposers, which is another traditional standard that we go by. And there are a couple other schools that are using their gardens to do the nature's composter as well. And then at A2 STEAM, this is the other one I wanted to highlight, the 6th grade STEAM stewards are just doing something really incredible. So they've got this garden, they're actually harvesting, prepping, and dehydrating. This kid over here on the side is using a food dehydrator, and then they're combining the veggies into soup mixes and donating them to Northside Community Center. And you can see this project at their November 5th expo. So there's just a ton of school gardens. I couldn't talk about all of them, but I've put some more pictures of some of them here. A lot of the gardens have weekly garden groups. At Burns Park, they have a weed and seed. Slauson and Forsyth also have after-school gardening clubs. Hazley has a weekly meeting as well, and they do a lot of food tastings from the garden in the cafeteria. King is like going gangbusters. They have a chef connection. They're able to create things from their huge garden that Neha helped build that can be served to the entire school. So they're on a big scale out there. And then Carpenter has 2 gardens. They have one outside, which is pictured there, and one in their interior courtyard. So there are lots that I was not able to picture as well, just for the interest of time. So I just want to say thank you for listening, and for to all of our partners who do so much work, and it's just really behind the scenes, and a lot of it's just volunteer. We meet once a month for an hour and a half, and we have for many years, trying to really push us forward and have that breakthrough year where we're able to do more and reach more students throughout the school district. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for staying so late. I know we all have, to get up and work tomorrow morning, but thank you. We really appreciate you being here. and done a wonderful job. This is a really important program.